Listen up. My beautiful comrades, okay? You know how Dave Rubin is a huge grifter, piece of shit, and also Tucker Carlson is a white supremacist piece of shit? Maybe you don't. That's okay. Listen, a lot of information out there. Look at this shit. Holy fuck. I don't even have anything like crazy funny to say about this yet. I'll come up with funny jokes in a second. Look at this. Look at this nonsense. This is from a what is this? Fucking The Rational National. This is from The Rational National. I don't know what the fuck sort of YouTube channel that is. No goddamn clue. Utterly a mystery to me. But yes?
Oh, before you start, is there anything you want?
I already started.
Well, is there anything you want with the rice that I can make so you can have after?
Probably beans?
Like, you just want beans?
I love beans.
We just don't have cheese, I don't think.
No cheese? Oh, right. We still haven't gone to...
Yeah, we haven't gone to Wingo.
Still beans.
Do you want beans?
I love you.
Okay, that's all you want?
Yes.
You want a burrito?
Sure.
Or just... Oh, I don't know when I'm starting my campaign, but yeah.
I love and believe in you.
Okay, love you.
Well, my concentration is fried again. But that's okay. I don't know what YouTube channel this is, but they have the clip from the news segment. Please look at this. For those of you who don't know, right now, California is being fucking ravaged. Being fucking annihilated by wildfire. The reason why? Heavy winds. You see, the power company up in Northern California, this is where I used to live. I just got out of there a few months ago. Up in Northern California, the power company is called PG&E. It's called Pacific General Electric, I think. And they have aging infrastructure, you see. Very important to keep up in your infrastructure when you're a big power company. Now, why exactly is it important? Well, see, the problem is, when winds kick up, if your infrastructure isn't up to task, it's entirely possible that extremely powerful, high voltage power lines will get knocked off onto the ground, pouring an enormous amount of electricity and therefore heat into the heavily forested regions of Northern California. The consequence of this, massive forest fires. The cause of this? PG&E not doing a good enough job keeping up with its infrastructure. Corporate failure. So let's see how these two brain geniuses react to this situation. Not this brain genius. Maybe this person actually is a brain genius. I don't know.
So, Dave, thanks so much for coming on. You moved to California because it's a beautiful place, and I agree with that. You've seen it really degrade in the time that you've been there, but PG&E strikes me as almost a metaphor for the destruction of the state. So here's the utility, which doesn't really know anything about its own infrastructure, but knows everything about the race of its employees. How did we get there?
What the fuck are we talking about right here? How easy is it to be a conservative when your commentary can be summed up with woke culture bad? This is a clear-cut case of a corporation failing to keep its infrastructure up because it's expensive to keep that infrastructure up, putting the profit motive above the lives, health, and safety of others, and causing an enormous forest fire. And then out of fucking nowhere, oh, this is because they know about their employees' race?
It's just unbelievable. Look, I've been in LA.
And remember, Dave Rubin's job is to agree with absolutely anything anybody says as long as that person isn't on the left. So treat him, he's not even an agent here. He doesn't even have personality. He has about as much agency over the situation as a fuck doll or a cum rag would over how the ropes hit it, okay? Like, it's just, he's just an empty vessel to be used by other stronger people.
I'm in LA right now. I live about a minute away from one of the big fires that's still going. I have friends that are evacuated. Los Angeles, putting politics aside, in Southern California, might be the most beautiful part of the United States.
Yes.
This is a lie. Most of Southern California is either oblique, grid-like concrete expanse in all directions, or dry brush hills. This is objectively incorrect and further testament to Dave Rubin being a fucking brainlet.
Problem right now is that everything from academia to public utilities to politics, everything that goes woke that buys into this ridiculous progressive ideology, that cares about what contractors are LGBT, or how many black firemen we have, or white this or Asian that. Everything that goes that road eventually breaks down. It is not how freedom is supposed to operate.
This has nothing to do with anything. They're both on here covering the utility companies causing a fire, and then they just talk as like PG&E goes woke. What the fuck are they talking about? It's just a fucking power company. What? This is actually a really conservative common like grift. They'll say like, oh, you go woke, you go broke. Anytime you're progressive, things go bad for you. How this functions here, apparently the nature of hiring black engineers leads to worse power grid upkeep, in spite of the fact that the decision to upgrade the grid would be made by an executive, not by an individual. This is, I mean, we can skip past the horse shit. Like, there's obviously no logical argument being made here. This had nothing to do with progressivism or diversity or woke culture. It was a company trying to save money, and in the effort to do so, they ended up hurting a fuckload of people. But the story, the message that's being disseminated here is literally just like, things went bad? Huh. Were there any black people or women in charge at the time? That's, I mean, that is actually what's being said. So, I mean, maybe you don't care that a power company, through gross negligence, is burning down the northern half of my former state, the state that I grew up in, for completely business-related purposes, and these two chuckle fucks are up here saying, haha, go woke, go broke. Maybe you don't care about that. I think that's pretty fucking disgusting. I think the biggest problem here is the dishonesty. Really? The fact that it has nothing to do with the issue, and they're clearly skipping by putting any responsibility on the corporation by accusing this of being just another instance of progressive woke culture damaging things, which, by the way, I've never heard a substantive argument for. I don't get it. Sometimes people will make the arguments like, oh, this movie went progressive and it didn't do well, but there are tons of progressive movies that do really well, so it just seems like they'll kind of stick that logic onto anything they can in a desperate attempt to post hoc justify their hatred of progressivism.
It's supposed to happen. Tucker, imagine if your house was on fire. Would you care what the public utility or what...
What the fuck did Tucker Carlson just do? Is he a guinea pig? Was that a sneeze from like a small rodent?
Imagine if your house was on fire. Would you care what the public utility...
What? I'm actually... I don't get it. That looked like a servo malfunctioning.
Utility or what the fire company, what contractor they brought in, what gender or sexuality or any of those.
No, nobody would care. Nobody cares. Nobody would care. Please, nobody believes this. There are no SJW. Please, God, I'm so pro diversity. If my house on fire, you can send all the fucking cisgender straight white men you want. Just fucking lead in the cavalcade, okay? Please, God, put my house out. Everyone believes this. They're emergency workers. And what does this have to do? What does this have to do with anything? PG&E, a power company, failed to upkeep because the executives decided to make more money by not upgrading their grid. This has nothing to do with diversity, but they'll shove this in, this square peg in the round hole, any chance they get, they'll fucking, a power company through gross negligence burned the country? Diversity, and that's it. That's all they have to contribute. Their goal here isn't to report the news or to cover anything or even to lead to any interesting insights. Their only goal here is to disseminate the reactionary values of the people who give them money. And Tucker Carlson has literally said that he is a bitch of the billionaires who pay him, by the way. Go look at the Vox News documentary on Tucker Carlson. He openly admits it. He openly admits that he's a grifter who pretends to represent the common man, but in reality is just a slave to the interest of billionaires. That's not like intensive investigative reporting. He literally just openly said it. He just directly said he has no shame whatsoever. Except for that one time when he was called out on it and that interview never aired because he acted embarrassingly. This is so easy. God, guys, can you imagine if I was a fucking conservative YouTuber? God, that's where all the money is at. It'd be so easy for me too, because I'm a hard leftist. I'll go, I'm Vosh, yeah, I'm Vosh, you know, and I was an edgy leftist, and I believed in everything the left believed in. But then I realized the left didn't care. The left didn't care about making the world a better place. They just cared about safe spaces and virtue signaling. So now I'm here, and this is the Vosh report, you know. And then I'll turn into a fucking neocon or something, and I'll go on there, and the state will be on fire, and I'll be like, well, you know, wokeness, diversity, same thing every time.
Things he or she was. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Who would care?
And right now we've got
Nobody cares. Nobody.
Of course you wouldn't care, and we've got a situation right now where we're doing preemptive blackouts in this state, which I think is the 11th largest economy in the entire world. We do preemptive blackouts because they don't want to put too much pressure on the grid. I mean, try to imagine the absurdity of what's going on here.
So wait, what he just said, he just mixed complete nonsense that has nothing to do with anything with something that's actually happening. So he began being like, he began with the, imagine if your house is on fire, would you care who saved it? If they were black or white or gay? Of course not. Nobody would care. Please find me a single instance in history where a person's house has been on fire and they ran outside to find white firemen breaking the door down, and they were like, whoa, hold on, this is not a diverse enough, this rescue of my entire livelihood is not diverse enough. Please go back and find a black firefighter. It has never happened. It will never happen. It is ridiculous. But he rambles about this for like 30 seconds, and then he says something that is true, which is that PG&E is doing rolling blackouts in the area to avoid putting pressure on the grid, and also so that if wind knocks out those areas, the power lines that fall to the ground won't catch fire because there's no electricity running through them. The town that I lived in before coming here, in Humboldt, the town I lived in, has now experienced something like a dozen blackouts, with power being shut down to the entire city, refrigerators running dead, people dying in hospitals, because the hospitals don't have enough backup generator power to last through the blackout, because a lot of these are like really small facilities. Entire days of no power, food rotting in the refrigerators, freezers useless, pets dying, their heating pads going out of use, stores not being able to restock, lights not in, everything. You need candles out. This has been happening for days and days. Universities have been shutting down. And you know why all of this happened? Because PG&E, the corporation, had executives who, in a desire to make more money, refrained from upgrading their old, overused, outdated, obsolete power lines. That's the story. It's the story of a corporation putting money over human life. And people have died from this. And millions of dollars of damage. We're maybe up to billions now. Oh yeah, you can't charge your phone, guys. There's a kicker. And these two chuckle fucks are talking about diversity. What the fuck are they talking about? What's going on?
And I hate to tell you, but we just don't have enough clear thinking, say more libertarian or conservative-minded people in California to fight what the progressives are doing to the state.
What the fuck is he talking about? What the fuck does that mean? These are literally non sequiturs. Oh, and then, oh my God, you just kind of showed up there. That was a long news clip that you just showed us through. And then this fucking guy here talks about it probably in the same way that I just talked about it. Instead, I talk over the clip and he talks before and after the clip. But that's all there really is to be said about it. Holy shit, dude. Like, it's actually disgusting. I'm not trying to virtue signal or anything, but I lived in those towns. I can easily imagine the hurt that those people are going through. And these two people come on here. The cause of this disaster, plain as day, it's capitalism. I'm sorry, it's capitalism. And they go on there and just out of nowhere, just completely apropos of nothing. And you can look, by the way, there's nothing in the story of like, oh, PG&E cut back measures to upgrade power grid in favor of new diversity hiring program. There's nothing. Even if there was something like that, that doesn't excuse what they did because they have an obligation to keep their power lines up. But there is nothing like that. It's nothing. There's no excuse. And they just do it anyway because square peg round hole. That's the conservative grift. You can just turn every story into that. Every last one of them. And all the boomers on watching Fox News will just, Yep, California bad. Yep. I bet those fucking multi-million-dollar executives were just too busy going to anti-gender reveal parties where you stomp on the little pink and blue balloons and going to the Skid Row in Los Angeles and helping all the black people to actually run their company.